Welcome back aboard Arabella. After redoing the bottom paint and replacing the propeller zinc as seen last week, Steve, Robin, George, and Akiva were ready to set off for Cape Cod the next morning.
Getting ready to take off before the sun. As soon as George and Akiva come back from their bathroom walks, be out of here and on our way south. And we're out of here. That light out there is the breakwater for Rockland Harbor. It's a little different in the dark. So we are about to cruise on out of the harbor and make our way south. We've been motoring the whole time. There hasn't been a lot of wind, but the plus side of that is the seas have been really calm. How long were you saying it was to Cape Porpoise?
Cape Porpoise we'd probably at 6 knots. We would be there. It's 37 miles, so.
So like 9 o'clock tonight?
Yeah, about 9 o'clock.
That's not bad.
If we upsail and end up catching some speed.
Yeah, if we put up the sails and possibly leave the motor on, we might be doing 7+.
Because that's a pretty safe harbor, and then that puts us in good distance of Gloucester for sure. I mean, that would actually be like a really short day. I think that if we went to Gloucester, that would probably only be, because I charted it from Portland to Gloucester, and it was like 74 miles. So if we're basically going like an extra 20 tonight, so that cuts it down to like a 55-mile day.
Instead of anchoring at Cape Porpoise, the crew elected to sail through the night all the way to Gloucester. The wind and waves picked up in the small hours of the morning when George was at the helm. George said that it felt like she was made out of steel, just plowing through the waves with ease, while Steve slept soundly down below. Arabella was tied up in Gloucester by about 11 a.m.
Why are you laughing at both of us on our cell phones?
Well, I was getting you guys like talking about making plans and George getting his flight and stuff. But yeah, also you guys were just like glued to your phones.
I know, but that's because we're booking. Do you want power at Sandwich Marina?
Probably not.
After a marathon of days and nights scraping and painting the hull, followed by sailing for 30 hours straight, the crew was a bit tired, so they spent the next whole day resting up in Gloucester. But Steve picked up the camera to give you a look at how he's coping with the winter temperatures up on deck.
Well, we've been doing a whole bunch of cold weather sailing here, and I want to show you what I've been wearing to make being out in these conditions actually pretty comfortable. So if we start at the bottom and work up, I've got wool socks. These ones are made by Darn Tough, which is a company in Vermont. I like them a lot. And I have no sponsorship or affiliation with any of these brands, but I'm going to tell you what I'm wearing. So these are long underwear. These are midweights. They're made by Rab. I've got light, midweight, and heavyweight in a couple different brands. And I will change those around depending on how cold it is. Right now I'm wearing my midweights. This is a Patagonia long sleeve top. And this I wear in the fall, right through the dead of the winter. It's a great wicking layer. It's a really nice base layer. So over this, I will put some fleece pants. These are also made by Patagonia. Pardon the dog hair. My entire life is covered in Akiva fur. So nothing too special about these. They're really just a pair of fleece pants. Next up is also by Patagonia, and this is insulating top. It's a 3/4 zip with a collar, which I really like. This lets me kind of regulate some airflow. And usually I pop the collar, not for style, but for the next layer, which you can't get in stores. This is a wool sweater that my mom made me. And it's very comfortable. The wool is pretty soft, but it does bother me if it's on my neck for a long time. So that's where popping that nice soft collar is kind of nice. And you'll notice that the sweater is a little oversized. I can put it on over a bunch of layers and it covers my butt, so I end up sitting on it, which is kind of nice. Next layer you also can't get in stores, and these are wool socks that my grandma made. Come from a long line of fiber artists. And these are very oversized, so they don't constrict the blood in my feet, which is really important to keeping warm feet. And I can tuck my layers into them and make sure I'm not getting any drafts. So those are really nice. And now we can work on some actual real weather protection and not just insulation. So these are my bibs. These are made by Gill, and they are made for offshore sailing and this kind of stuff. So these are fully waterproof, lots of pockets. This is exactly what they're designed for. This is a synthetic down jacket made by Rab. And this one I'll wear if it's really cold, and I will leave it off if it's not super cold. This is also one of my go-tos in the mountains. Can't forget a hat for my poor bald head. It gets really cold not having a lot of hair. This is Mountain Hardware. It's one of my favorite winter hats. It's got wind stopper, so it cuts that wind coming through, and it has these very fashionable ear flaps, which keep my ears nice and warm. Next up is the Gill jacket. And I like these zip layers because when I'm going to be messing around with sails and I'm getting hot, I can open this all up and let the heat escape. And if I'm really going to be messing with sails for a while, I'll actually come down below and strip off this down jacket so that I have a little bit less insulation. Sitting in the cockpit steering, you know, you're pretty sedentary and you get cold and you need to really be layered up. Raising, lowering sail, messing with all that stuff, you get really hot, you're really active, and I don't want to get sweaty. So sometimes I'll come down, peel my PFD off, take my Gill jacket off, throw my down jacket on the settee, open up my bibs, go back on deck, do what I'm going to do. I might be a little cold when I start, but I want that heat to escape. I don't want to get sweaty. Come back down and bundle back up. It's worth doing. Usually you have the time. Always important, personal flotation device, especially important in the winter when there are not as many boats to come help rescue and the weather and the seas are not as forgiving. This one's really nice because it has a hard tie-in point for my last piece of kit, which is my lanyard. I got a short one and a longer elastic one. And so far, I really liked this method for staying on the boat. You stay attached to the boat. It's pretty impossible to fall off the boat if you're strapped to the boat. And I trust this system a lot more than I trust lifelines. It also lets me go up to the mast and hook that elastic one around the mast, and then I'm free to work with two hands, and I really can't go anywhere, which is really nice. Add on some gloves, which I don't often wear. I'm kind of a freak, and my hands do really well in the cold. You're probably gonna want gloves. And this is what I've been wearing. Oh, last piece is boots. So I've got a pair of Gills that are uninsulated, and they're a little bit oversized, so I can put them on with the wool socks. And if it's too cold for those, I've got these heavier duty ones with 1,000 grams of Thinsulate. These really help with the warmth and keeping your toes warm. And one thing that's really important with both of these boots is they're easy on, easy off. So if you do end up in the water for some reason, these fill with water, and it's basically like having gallons of water tied to your feet. So the fact that you can just kick these off and not go with them is really important. You really want shoes that you can get out of quick. Kraken. It is 4 in the morning, and these guys have been coming and going. I came over this morning and asked the crew of the Kraken if they sleep. And they said today is day 5 of going out tuna fishing in this weather. And if you watched Wicked Tuna, you might recognize the Kraken.
Good morning. My name's Wes. I run the Kraken, and yeah, we're just down here in Gloucester, tuna fishing for December. Cold, wet, and miserable, but we're still having fun.
That's good.
We ran into Steve, and they looked like they were on a wet adventure themselves, and found a good spot to tie up, and now look at us, we're neighbors. You know, so.
And we're all leaving at the same time this morning.
Right.
So you guys are saying it's day 5. How long does the tuna season last?
It sounds like till Wednesday, so 2 more days, but.
How did they decide when it ends?
Quota-wise, so.
How many fish, or how many pounds of fish, or?
So they gave us 48 metric tons from tip of Maine down to the Carolinas.
Okay.
So the guys down there are crushing them. Everyone's crushing them. So 48 metric tons goes by pretty quick. So yeah.
Sounds like a lot of fish.
Oh, it's a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So.
What's the biggest one you guys have got this year?
106-incher. Not too big.
Not too big. How far offshore do you go in this boat?
Today we're going 15 miles.
All right.
But we're from Seabrook, so that's a 36-mile steam from here up a little north. So we're making that steam this afternoon, heading back to the motherland. So
cool.
It'd be nice to be home, but we didn't want to give up. One more day.
One more day.
One more fish.
Yeah.
Nice. And when do you guys kick off in the spring?
April.
April.
Ground fishing charters, and eventually come July we'll do tuna fishing. Start getting into tuna fishing.
Right on the side of the boat that works there too, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if people are interested in going out with you guys, KrakenTunaCharters.com.
That's the one.
But you guys do more than just go out tuna fishing, it sounds like.
Yeah, we do a lot of haddock charters, catching pollock, haddock, cod, and then other than that, we're tuna fishing. So tuna fishing's our main gig, but as long as we're out in the water, we're happy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Oh, it's so great to meet you guys.
Likewise.
And I gotta say, we came in and it was blowing and wet and cold and nasty. And this dude gets off the boat just like that, smiling ear to ear, happy as a clam. I got back on the boat and Robin was like, "Oh, does he know the channel? He seemed pretty psyched to meet you." And I was like, "I don't think so. I think he's just pretty psyched." So that was really awesome.
I've been told I'm a happy person. All right.
I think he's just in a good mood.
Yeah. So
That's great.
we're breathing. We're happy. We're good.
Awesome. See you guys. Be safe out there.
Take it easy.
Right as we get hit by a swell. Jeez! lot better with that sail up. So much more stable. Yeah, that was a good boy.
I don't know if you can really see it, but that's Boston in our wake. George keeps complaining that it's hot out. He can't wait to get back to Florida and those cooler temperatures.
I'm trying to eat popcorn with gloves, which means I'm basically just throwing popcorn at my face and hoping that I catch pieces. I feel like the sea's picked back up again.
Yeah. Yeah, they have. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Slowly,
Doesn't feel chaotic.
no, slowly working us back onto course there.
Yeah. Such a
The seas
good
and the
captain.
winds and the jibes trying to just
Yeah.
nothing too quick or harsh. Yeah, we were in a depot. It's definitely our job to get out of his way.
You can see it is precipitating, and it is not rain. It's officially snowing.
We're tied up in Sandwich. George is signing the guest log and getting himself packed up and ready to head back to Florida. And Robin's pulled out the computer and is back to work.
Just a little bit. Just a couple emails. Small emails.
3 hours later.
Maybe.
Well, thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you, George. I think we need to thank you more than you need to thank us.
Yeah, seriously. Thank
Well,
you
I
so
did have some
much.
very good meals.
We
so
did. We
I
do
did
eat
enjoy
well.
them. And you're talking about the sailing Arabella after working on it. That meal that we had night before last that you prepared, Robin, was just wonderful. And we sat around here. It was warm and cozy in here. And we were, I guess that was in Gloucester. It was nice and calm. Sat
Yep.
there and
Yeah.
had a great conversation. And threw the dishes in the sink and got in the sleeping bag and went to sleep. Had a great
Yeah.
sleep. So,
Yeah, that was a really, really nice night.
yeah.
Well, I hope
Thanks.
you come back out with us.
Looking forward to it.
All right. I know you hate this part. Give me a hug.
Oh,
It's good to see
Nice.
you, George. Thank you.
all right.
Same, George. Oh, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much for everything. And I appreciate you teaching. I feel like I have learned.
Yeah, definitely.
Akiva is going to miss you most of all. Where's my buddy who takes me on every walk?
Next Friday, the winter sailing continues, as Scott and Jack come aboard to help find Arabella a safe harbor for the rest of the winter. You can support the channel by just clicking the like button for us and making sure that you're still subscribed. It doesn't cost anything, but if you'd like it to, you can head over to our Patreon page and help us tell the story of this boat week by week.